Welcome back to City Trends. I have my next guest with me, Arlin Poller from High Point Consulting, and today we're going to talk a little bit about servant leadership. Welcome, Arlin. Thanks for coming on.
It's great to be back.
And then we were talking in the past, and we're going to share today with our audience a little bit about servant leadership. And I think we both feel servant leadership is probably the most effective form of leadership there is today.
That's right. Yeah, I think so. It's even if you have a more traditional view of what business is about, and about productivity, then you want to optimize productivity. Then there's better ways to provide the leadership and the support so that people are more productive.
And the most important thing, and we talked about this before too, in leadership, is to genuinely care about the well-being of others. And that's not style. Style and substance, people sometimes get confused. You can have a gruff, authoritarian leadership style and still care about people. And that resonates. And if you care about people, you're going to get the best out of them. And if you're caring more about your career than the people that are working for you, that comes through too, and you don't get the most out of your people.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right about the dare to care. The primary difference, I think, in servant leadership is that passionate interest in the success of your report. And the smart part of it is that the better you support your report, the better they perform, the better that supports your career and your success. So it's kind of an interesting thing where if I'm really self-centered and I'm really only concerned about my career, then I better really care about the success of the people who make my career successful. So that's kind of the what's in it for the leader, to use a servant leadership sort of mentality or attitude. But it's all, I think, predicated on that one thing you said, the care, what we refer to as dare to care. Because if you care, then there's going to be a vulnerability, and which is why I think often people use more of the old school dictatorial command and control kind of an approach, is because there's less vulnerability there. But we're actually more successful ourselves as leaders if we care about the people who we depend on to get the work done, and support them and their success. And if we have that passion, then I think that's the beginning. I think that's the foundation of what servant leadership is about.
Exactly. And with servant leadership, and what you have to remember is leadership is first and foremost a position of service. So if you are somebody that doesn't genuinely care about the well-being of others, that's okay. And we talked about this. That's not a prerequisite to being a citizen, but it should be a prerequisite for leadership. If you do not genuinely care about the well-being of others, please do not take a leadership position.
I like the way you put that. You mentioned that in one of our previous conversations, and I like the black and whiteness and the clarity about that. Without the care, you're going to come up short.
Yes.
And I think that's even more so true today, because there's a growing intolerance for the old command and control style. And as people become more and more secure about, I can always work someplace else, now they're going to be more inclined to set their boundaries on how they want to be led, how they want to be managed.
And the other big problem that the old style of leadership is having is when it used to be an assembly line and the tasks were rudimentary and redundant, authoritarian leadership worked. But now people are in jobs where it requires a lot of conceptualization. Yeah. And that style of leadership does not work with people like that.
That's true. Particularly around if you need people who can not only do but think.
Yes.
And to think creatively, to think innovatively, to be passionate and care deeply about the success of their work, then those human attributes tend to be filtered out when they don't feel cared about. Those are the parts of the human that stay in the car when they come into work.
And I was talking to a CEO at one of the corporations, and he exercises servant leadership, and the reason why is what they found is authoritarian style leadership in places that require a lot of conceptualization, it stymies them a little bit because they're apprehensive to try things. And to be creative, you have to be in an environment where it's okay to fail.
Exactly. That goes back to the dare to care. It's not just with the servant leadership that you need to have the courage to care about the people, but you want to be supporting them to be able to afford to care about the work they do and to invest themselves in the success of their work in ways that traditionally they didn't have to, back to the assembly line, task-based.
And that's what's important, what you were just saying right now, is investing in your people. Put your time and energy into your people, and then the money always follows. We talked about that. Don't have profit your focus. We all have to make money. We have to make a living. But put your time and energy into your people, and the money always follows.
That's right. And whether it's profit for the organization or success for yourself as a manager, as a leader, the best way to support that is to support the people who drive that. And so that fundamental attitude of what we call dare to care is really kind of the foundation. And then what's interesting is not only the conceptual aspect or the innovative or creative thinking and whatnot on the part of the people doing the work, but it's interesting how if I care about the people that are doing the work for me, that I'm responsible for their success, and I'm there to serve them, then my creativity and my innovation and my intuition and insight kicks up, because that passion of caring actually drives my psyche and enables me to see things that I wouldn't otherwise see, and to pick up on and sense things, and that support my supporting them. So that passion of caring as a servant leader makes me a better leader in terms of knowing how to provide the leadership or the management to the people doing the work.
Exactly. And one of my favorite people that I worked for, when I took a leadership position, he told me, I want you to cease to think about your career, and I want you to put the energy into your subordinates. And in the process of doing that, a rising tide will lift all ships, and you'll receive your accolades by their successes.
That's exactly how it works.
And you know, Arlin and myself, there's so many areas that we agree on. We could talk here for hours, but we have a limited amount of time. So Arlin, please let the audience know, how can they get a hold of you? 559-432-4776, or on the web at www.highpointconsulting.net. And give us a call, contact us through the internet, the website, and we'd love to talk to you about how we can help you find a better way to do business. And I will add this before we go. Arlin is somebody that's actually done this. He hasn't just read it in a book. We talked earlier about academia, just reading about something versus doing something. You can read about swimming all day long, but until you jump in the pool, you haven't swam.
Yeah, I've been in the pool. Thanks.
Yes, Arlin has been in the pool. Thanks a lot, folks. All right, thank you for this show, and we will see you next time. Thanks a lot.